Hey, what's up, guys? This is Adam Heitzman, and today I'm going to be talking about some photography I did recently. About a month and a half ago, my family and I went on a 9-day long trip to Colorado. We stayed in Dolores, but we basically drove around a lot of parts in southwestern Colorado. For this trip, I brought my Mamiya 645 as well as 12 rolls of film for it. I had 2 leftover rolls of Portra 400, and I also tried out Fuji's Pro 400H and Ektar 100. I've never shot 400H prior to this trip. I have shot Ektar, but only on 35mm. So I was excited to try it out and see what these stocks were like on medium format. I also brought my Fujifilm X-T20 to do some videos and some digital shooting as well. The first evening we got there, I just kind of walked around town and took some pictures in the golden hour. The next day we drove over to Cortez to visit some relatives, and I got some nice shots of the countryside out there, although I didn't take too many pictures. The next morning, I went out and took some more photos around Dolores. My dad showed me this one cool spot on the side of the river. There were some old broken down cars just buried in the riverbed, and I got some cool shots of that. I got some cool shots of the view from Fort Lewis College and this old cool motel sign somewhere around there. One of the big things we did on this trip was we drove into the San Juan Mountains and we did this hike up to a place called Geyser Spring, which is exactly as it sounds. It's just a bit of water coming out of the ground, except the water was white and it smelled like sulfur. There's also a nice aspen forest just around the whole thing, and I got some really nice pictures there. Some of my favorites on the trip. Although the hike itself was pretty hard, mainly because it was at an elevation I wasn't used to, plus I was carrying 2 cameras, one of which is, medium format film camera, so pretty heavy. Yeah, a few days after that, my family we just kind of drove around the whole area through the San Juan Mountains. Started just driving. We went to this small town called Rico, and I basically just walked around there for like 15 minutes or so, just taking pictures of various things. There was this old like abandoned house there, got a couple shots of, but didn't really spend too much time there overall. After that, we basically just kept driving through the mountains, pulling over whenever we felt like it to look at the scenery and for me to get some pictures. One morning, I woke up and I heard some cows mooing, which was strange because we weren't really in the farms, we were in a town, so there weren't any farms nearby. So we go outside and turns out they're doing this big cattle drive and there's just hundreds of cattle just all walking down the main street in the town, being kept in line by a bunch of like cowboys on their horses and dogs. So yeah, that was something. Later that day, we drove over to Utah to visit Arches, because I've never been there before. I did get some really cool pictures of all the scenery. There's a lot of cool stuff there, as you can see in these photos, but it really reminded me just how much I hate desert heat, which is kind of annoying when you go to school in Tucson. The following day, my dad and I just basically drove around Cortez to get some pictures of the cool buildings there. I tried to get a picture of this one like sign outside this place that makes tombstones, but something in my camera's advancing mechanism wasn't really working properly and it kind of created an accidental double exposure with the next shot I took. But it's still kind of cool, I guess. We saw some other buildings around town such as the Beanery, but the big part was like this one old abandoned truck stop. I shot like 2 rolls of film in there and I got a ton of video and a ton of digital shots as well. We basically just walked around it for like half an hour just looking at everything. after that, we basically just kept driving around town. I took some more pictures of old buildings and dilapidated gas pumps, and that was basically the day. So yeah, that was about the end of the trip. We drove back the next day, from what I remember. And yeah, we did stop at a bunch of places along the highway because there were like all these cool abandoned buildings on the drive there. And I got photos of those, a lot of which turned out really cool. There were even some like random dogs just chilling outside of some of these buildings. I was originally going to shoot these buildings on the way out, but I stayed up all night the night before because I wanted to get my sleep schedule back on track when we got there, so I was just too tired to function. But yeah, that's about the trip. It's pretty cool. Had a lot of fun, took some good photos, and yeah, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.